Welcome back to Zero Mile ADV, a true beginner's guide to adventure motorcycling. Today, I guess quick caveat, from a true beginner's perspective, I rode for the first time a two-stroke dirt bike, more specifically the KTM 300 XC, which stands for cross country because there are a million different versions of the 300 two-stroke from KTM. I rode the cross country. Not entirely sure what that means because I'm still trying to figure out all of the acronyms and all the stuff with dirt bikes, but that's what I rode today. What are my initial thoughts? If you made it this far, a solid like 25-30 seconds in the video, we'll find out when I edit this. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Learning that is also important if you like this video. Also leave a comment below, tell me why you hate my videos, tell me why you think my hat is stupid. And if you're in the know on TR, you're in the know. This is the worst YouTube channel in the world. All you have to do is just leave a comment below and leave those comments below. So with that, let's get into my initial thoughts on the KTM 300 XC two-stroke. Okay, first impressions, horsepower. I want to go back to like one of the very first videos I made that I wanted, I was like, I'm going to document my journey getting an adventure bike, and I bought a quote-unquote leader bike, actually a bigger than leader bike. I bought a KTM 1290 Super Adventure S for my very first motorcycle after getting my license and being able to ride legally, taking my safety course. And I got a lot of comments about it's way too big of a bike, and I always stood by, you should buy the bike that you want to ride as long as A, you ride within the rules of the road, you ride within 80% of your skill limit. So you know how good you are on your bike. So you ride at 80%, and this is I think a Moto Jitsu comment, so I'm going to give him credit for that. So if you ride at 80%, if you get into a sticky situation, you have a 20% margin to help you get out of it and reduce your injury. And also, don't be a jerk. Just ride within your limits, always be safe. And I think if you do those things, with a caveat of whole other stuff, legalese here, insert legalese here, buy the bike you want to get. But I had a bunch of people saying, oh, you should only buy a bike that's like 50 horsepower. This bike, this 300 two-stroke, is 55 horsepower. And let me tell you, when I first got on this bike, and now I have been riding a decent amount. I have a BDR under my belt. I've ridden a bunch of different adventure bikes. I have my Honda 450 RL that I ride a lot off-road. And when I first got on this bike, the power was intimidating. When I had to, where I parked and then I had to get on the road, getting on the throttle, actually I'm going to hold that for a minute. We'll get into the throttle a little bit later because I think it's important when we talk about the Honda. But with the power, once you get that into the actual power band of the two-stroke, I finally understood what it meant when people say be careful not to loop the bike. Basically like wheeling the bike out from under you, right? There was an insane amount of power. And so here's a 50, I think the horsepower number is like 55 plus, roughly 50. You're at 50 horsepower on a 200-pound motorcycle. It's a death trap. Like this thing, so much power just right out of the gate. And when you get into the higher RPMs into that power band, like this thing just rips. So like I felt much safer initially riding my KTM 1290 Super Adventure S around town and trying to get comfortable just going 45 miles an hour. And I had never ridden motorcycles. Like I felt more comfortable on that bike initially than initially getting settled in and feeling the power of this bike. Now, that only caveat, now that I have some motorcycling experience, it only lasted maybe the first like 20 minutes until I got comfortable and understood the power band. But initially, like, it kind of put the fear of God in me, like so much power. So again, 50 horsepower, you could easily kill yourself on this thing. So I just don't buy into the whole like, you gotta buy a small bike, because this is a small bike. It weighs like 220 pounds. It's only 50 horsepower, but it rips. It's got so much power. Okay, so now with that out of the way and basically addressing all the trolls, because I have gotten on a bike of that size, let's talk about the throttle response. One thing, if you haven't seen my video on the Honda CRF 450 RL, very popular content. People seem to love the Honda. One of my biggest complaints, and a lot of people's complaints, is the twitchy throttle. And so I ended up getting the G2 throttle tube and the Get ECU, which helped kind of tame that out. But if you are used to riding two-stroke dirt bikes, so a lot of people who ride motorcycles, they've been riding dirt bikes most of their lives, I haven't. So I am new. I didn't grow up riding motorcycles. I grew up mountain biking, but motorcycling for me is entirely new. So if you grew up riding two strokes and with this kind of like on-off power, getting on the Honda for a dual sport, you're gonna probably feel right at home, probably not an issue. Now I will say at lower RPMs though, so when you are trail riding the bike, the throttle definitely isn't as twitchy as the Honda once you upshift. But when you get into that power band, there's like, if you're riding the edges of like where it really kicks in the power band, I don't know what the RPM is because there's no gauges, but let's just say it kicks in at 3,500 RPMs. If you're at 3,300, it's totally fine. You give it just a touch of gas and it's just like, it's just blowing out from under, like it's just ripping. So, and there's a lot of, so you really have to like learn how much gas to give it. I never opened this bike all the way up. Like even on just some flat straights on the dirt roads where I could have just given it the full beans and just seen what kind of power it was there. I didn't. Like it was just, it was too much for me. Like I was like, I don't want to wreck this. It isn't my bike. Also shout out to Adrenaline Driven Adventures in Grand Junction for hooking me up with this bike so I could spend a few hours on it and go riding on it. And so yeah, not my bike, and giving it that much throttle would put me way above 100% of my skill limits on the dirt as I'm just trying to figure out the whole dirt thing, and that would have been dangerous. So those are my initial impressions. This bike, it rips really fast, definitely a little bit of a twitchy throttle response. Those are kind of my initial riding impressions. So riding style, I would, how this bike rides and did I have to shift how I rode the bike in order to have more fun? Yes and no. I think for general trail riding, so I started with some like double track trails that sometimes I'll just go have fun on the Honda with if I want to go do a quick lap. And in those sections, the bike wasn't as fun as the Honda. Like it just wasn't as fun. I would have rather have been on the Honda. I feel the Honda is better for general trail riding. If you're gonna go rip 50-inch tracks or double tracks or kind of like super light BDR stuff, even though I've said I don't think this is a good BDR bike, but I think the Honda's better in my opinion. And that's after a couple hours. Now, where I do think that the KTM really shines is in the fun, flowy single track. And so it would be interesting to take this bike like up on the Mesa and ride it in some more of the technical rocky sections and like rocky single track, or like some of the single track I rode in Moab with the, losing 100 pounds in weight, probably more enjoyable there because it would be easier to navigate. The bike being so much lighter, it was very maneuverable. So I think on tight single track, it's probably a lot more fun. There's a section of trail that I've ridden before on the Honda. Actually, I've only taken the Honda in this one area like once or twice. And I was like, I'm gonna go ride this. And I actually really enjoyed it. So it's called the Power Line Trail, and it follows this like, you kind of follow the power lines out and then in the middle of the desert, and all of a sudden you get in this old creek bed. And there's these like big like big berms you kind of ride up on, and it just like swoops down this creek bed all the way down towards town. And I had so much fun, I ended up climbing out of it and then going back the other way. Because it was just, for me, that's where the bike felt really fun. It was super easy just to shift the weight of the bike underneath me to go up on the berms and around the tight corners. And I was finally getting comfortable with the shifting. Another thing I noticed with the shifting on this bike is that the shifter throws felt really big. And so compared to the Honda where it's just like little clicks to shift gears, I feel like I really had to shift big. So when I first started riding this bike, I was like kicking it into neutral a lot out of first gear. And actually, I didn't really spend much time in first gear because first gear is geared so high that it's almost worthless. Like you could definitely start in second gear. So you could get the bike in second gear and you could cruise. I think I even did a couple of times because you give it a little bit of gas and you're already wrapping it out in first gear and you're going a couple miles an hour. So not having like a lot of technical abilities, there's probably a reason for that. And this being a cross-country bike, there's probably a reason for that, right? In the enduro circuit, there's probably a reason you want that. I just don't know what it is. So today I didn't need that. I was out in the desert. A lot of fun though. So it was really, really fun in that tight single track. The double track, I would rather have the Honda all day. But having now ridden that, I kind of want to go get the Honda out there and just kind of do a side-by-side comparison and get the Honda in the single track. And like, I'm having just as much fun on the Honda, even though it's not as like snappy and fun around those corners, or is this really better? But that's where I really felt the bike was the most fun. And the kind of tight single track flowy stuff, that's where I had the most fun. Characteristics. Honestly, the best thing about this bike was the sound. Like, all dirt bikes should sound like two strokes. Let's just listen to it. It just sounds so good, like that, you know, like I don't know how else to say it, like it just sounds absolutely amazing. So I think one of the favorite characteristics of this bike is just the sound. Another thing with the two-stroke, it almost felt impossible to like want to stall the engine, where the Honda will want to stall, especially like if you saw my video about riding in Moab, single track in Moab, I was stalling it out in those technical tree sections, where this bike, I feel like it's almost impossible to stall. Like it felt really, really hard to kill the bike or stall the bike, which is really unique. Also, like zero engine braking. So if you're like me and you're going down steep stuff and you like engine braking, pretty much like zero engine braking, and it'll just kind of like, it'll just get really high RPM, and then as you come down the hill, unlike the Honda, which will give you decent engine braking. So as you're coming down that steep stuff, especially out here in the desert, we have some like steep hills, you can really kind of control the bike better with the engine speed, where I feel as I pretty much was using the brakes. Another thing on this bike, the brakes were not that great. I felt like I had to put a lot of input, especially in the front brake, to get it to stop. However, it did have Dunlop Battle Axe, Bridgestone Battle Axe, because I had the Bridgestone Battle Axe adventure tire on my Norden 901. These Bridgestone Battle Axe motocross tires were awesome. Like on the Honda, I would feel a lot like where the bike just loses grip and it wants to spin out. I feel like this bike just hooked up all day. There's only a couple times where I felt the back end get a little bit loose, but other than that, it just hooked up all day. And so the characteristics of this bike were super fun, but the best thing has to be the sound. So last but not least, would I recommend this bike to a beginner if you wanted to improve your off-roading skills for adventure riding? No, I don't think so, because it just rides so different from a big adventure bike that it is a completely different riding style. It is fun, you know, on the way home, I'm like, would I want to buy a light two-stroke and do more technical, like tight single track? You know, there's actually some good deals going on right now. But part of me is like, you know, I almost enjoyed maybe really appreciate the Honda and the capabilities of the 450 RL and everything it can do, even for being a bigger bike at you know, a 400, you know, a 450. So, and even at the 450, the power is just so much more tamed and mild and controllable. The 300 is just wild. Honestly, I think the power is about the same. I could be wrong, I'll put a note here, but I think the power on the Honda is like around 50 horsepower with the exhaust and everything, and this is like 55 plus on a 200-pound less bike, and it was just wild. So again, I'm rambling, but let's go back. Would I recommend this for a beginner adventure rider? No, I couldn't say that I would, unless you really are interested in riding tight single track, cross-country enduro stuff, then it would probably make you better. But honestly, I feel like a good dual sport, you know, maybe a KLX 300. I really would like to ride one of those. Actually, I really want to ride a Yamaha WR250F, I think is what it's called. Keeping the names together is stupid. At least with the KTM, I could remember XC for cross country, but like, you know, RL with the Honda, like, what does that mean? It doesn't mean dual sport. It means, I don't know, who knows what it means. If you know, leave a comment below. And with that, actually subscribe if you've made it this far into the video. But honestly, I just feel the bikes are so different that, yeah, it makes me want to ride the Yamaha 250, a lighter bike that's more of a dual sport that can do the kind of riding I want to do. But that, I don't know, having fun with a light bike and tossing it around those tight switchbacks was super fun. So it makes me really interested to see like what that bike would be like in the trees, you know, up on the Grand Mesa, in Moab, maybe up in the San Juans. Again, though, like Section 2 of the Colorado BDR, I don't think this bike would be that great. I would rather have the Honda, to be honest with you. So if I was going to go re-ride Section 2, but with the Honda and have more fun, it would be more fun over the two-stroke, I think. I think the two-stroke just seems a lot more fun in the snappy sections where you can really rip the throttle and it hooks up. But that's just on a couple hours of riding. Those are my thoughts. If you've stayed this long, I appreciate it. Leave a comment below. Tell me why you think these are the worst videos in the world, why you hate my YouTube channel, why you don't like my hat, Two Rivers Coffee, Historical Jam. But with that, stay safe out there.